Hey guys, and welcome to Items Part 2. Item builds are super important in League of Legends. You spend a majority of the time in League gathering gold to buy items to make your character stronger, so it's super important to understand items as a whole. In today's video, we won't be getting into builds, but just understanding items. First off, let's make sure to categorize the types of items. There's three. There's recipe items, tier 2 items, and then completed items. Recipe items are the most basic set of items, and they usually cost less than 500 gold. Recipe items will also only come with one main stat and no unique passives or actives. The only exceptions to this rule are the support and jungle starting items, but they have rules that stop them from being abused by other roles than the ones they belong to. Tier 2 items are items that are bought by combining 1 to 3 recipe items and gold. There's several benefits that tier 2 items provide. The first is inventory space. Inventory space is a limited resource and something that becomes more and more important to manage and understand as the game goes on. The second is the overall increase in strength for the cost of around a recipe item. So, while you're paying a similar amount of gold to combine all these recipe items as the cost of a recipe item itself, the gain in power is a lot bigger. The third is that they usually come with a cool bonus effect that can either happen passively or something you have to activate with a hotkey. Passives will usually require you to do something to trigger the item. For example, with Sheen you have to use an ability to increase the damage of your next auto attack. Meanwhile, something like Cutlass, you just need to use like an extra ability. Don't forget to look at the passives and make sure that they don't say unique. If they say unique, that means that if you buy the same item again, you won't get that passive effect twice. Something to note about tier 2 items is that sometimes you don't want to build the recipe item before the tier 2 item. Let's say I'm playing a champion like Aurelia. Aurelia is an amazing champion with the item Sheen that builds into Triforce. However, if I'm just starting out my Triforce and I only have 500 gold, I wouldn't want to purchase a mana crystal unless I already completed my Phage and Stinger items. That's because I would much rather get a longsword or a dagger instead of just the mana crystal. However, if I'm just starting out my Triforce and I have 1100 gold, I would instead purchase the Sheen instead of starting to build either Phage or Stinger. In later videos we'll dive more into this, but it's good to touch on so you understand early. Completed items are last up on our list, and they usually combine tier 2 items to be created, and sometimes recipe items and tier 2 items to complete the item. Completed items are the top of the food chain. They essentially do everything we talked about with tier 2 items, but better, increasing stats, passives, and saving space. Before we move into completed builds and understanding what your final 5 or 6 items would be, it's important to think about gold efficiency. This means that you're spending your gold wisely. Some general rules for this would be to try and go home or back to base when you have enough gold for a tier 2 item. Usually you can save around 1,000 to 1,300 gold, but more than that gets risky because you're carrying too much of your gold with you. If you have to base before that, make sure to understand what tier 2 item you'll want to build, that way you can get the most benefit out of the recipe items you'll have to buy. You'll also want to make sure to do your best to build straight into a specific completed item one at a time, and avoid buying tier 2 items that aren't related to the same completed item. That's because completed items are the best value and you don't want to slow those items down by having too many things going on in your inventory at once. That's going to be it for this video. In the next video, we'll go into how to learn what you want to build, understanding why you build that, and expanding from there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below or in our Discord that's linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in part 3.